The EPZ 530, what's it cost? How's it fit? And how's it sound? Let's talk about it. So this is an IM y'all asked me about a year and a half ago, so I guess better late than never. And I think with good reason. This is an all balanced armature set. You probably know I like all balanced armature sets. It's got 5 BAs, price is $530 or something else depending on where you find this thing. I'll be honest, it's a little bit all over the place. But yeah, expect around $500 for the EPZ 530. And in terms of physical form factor, this thing is pretty nice. It's got a pretty decent little cable on it. It can be a little kinky, a little bit kink prone, but it's got a nice chin slider on it. It's got your standard preformed ear hooks and a 2-pin connector. Now the shells themselves are what I like the best. They are a stabilized wood and they come in this beautiful green color. I think there's other colors available as well, but this one to me just looks nice and unique and I dig it. Now in terms of fit and comfort, here's a couple things I'll say about this thing. This thing does fit a little bit on the large side. I'm going to describe it as like a medium large, but your mileage may vary with that. The other thing to kind of highlight about the fit on this thing is that because it is an all BA set and it seems to be unvented, some people might have issues with the seal just kind of creating a little bit of a pressure. But here's a little pro tip on how to deal with that, right? So take this thing, plug it in your ear. As you plug it in, actually before you get a seal, pull up on your ear, fit it into place, and then drop your ear on top of it. That way you can basically get that seal without having kind of air pressure being squeezed together inside your ear. And that's a little tip from me to you. But anyway, on to the rest of this IM, which I guess we're going to talk about the sound here on the EPZ 530. This is on Squiggling if you want to check it out for yourself. Of course, linked down below somewhere. But tuning wise, I'm going to describe this as kind of a flavor of a V-shaped sound signature. You can see there is some emphasis in the low end, but mostly this is going to sound a little bit bright, a little bit forward in the vocal region as well as in the treble. Now, that treble can be a tad on the spicy side, but it gives it a nice incisiveness, pretty decent imaging as well. So overall, I like it. It can be, again, a little bit spicy, so fair warning. Down here, though, is probably the weakest part of the sound, is the bass. And it's not because it does look a little bit bloated. Because it's balanced armature, I think we're actually getting less bass emphasis than you're seeing here in the frequency response graph. It comes across not really warm, not really full. The bass doesn't have a whole lot of definition. And it's just not a lot of bass, which is fine, right, if that's not what you're after. But just as a heads up, this is definitely not a bassy IM. Yeah, I think it's a pretty decent sound. The imaging is probably the strength, bass is probably the weakness. Overall, in terms of scores, I think I'm going to give this thing 3 stars out of 5. If you want to check it out, of course, I've got it linked down below, but just as a heads up, EPZ's got a much better IM coming out soon, which I'm reviewing also very soon.